Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. Coming up on the show, head soccer coaches John Bodner of Williamsport and Lynn Mills of Clear Spring will join me to preview the respective girls and boys playoff draws. And Week 8's football is highlighted by a comeback for the ages. And three of the Boonesboro Warriors who made what seemed impossible possible will be right here to tell us how they did it. But before all of that, how is it possible that lovable losers are squaring off in the World Series? It's almost a cruel joke that one of the teams we love to dismiss, either the Cleveland Indians or the Chicago Cubs, will force us to acknowledge them as the best Major League Baseball has to offer this year. The Cubs haven't made us do it for 108 years, and the Indians haven't turned the trick in 68 years. As early as Saturday and as late as next Wednesday, somebody's history of failure and the enjoyment we derive from pointing it out will come to an end. Since it's doubtful the WWE is a sanctioning body which precludes a double countout and a draw, who am I backing? Let me put it this way. Not the team that won the American League pennant despite playing in a home stadium filled to only 56% capacity during the regular season. Indians fans were often dressed as empty seats at Progressive Field this year, and my thought process is if Clevelanders don't care enough about their team to show up and root for them over the course of 81 games, I won't start for the best of 7. There's evidently one Ohio native who has decided to do just the opposite, though. Oh yeah, he made his 6'8", 249-pound presence felt at the ALCS. He's known as the King. In my opinion, he's the king of the bandwagoners. LeBron James has traded his trademark Yankees hat, which he's seen wearing here, to an Indians game for an opportunity to witness the kind of world championship history he brought to Cleveland with the same people who called for his Yankee hat-wearing head when he unceremoniously took his talents to South Beach. To paraphrase a borrowed line from one of our contentious presidential debates, he's the puppet. And with our resident Ohio native off this week, this is who we got. That's
There's
right.
only one seat in Wrigley Field that's not going to be inhabited, probably Bartman's, but Cubs?
The Cubs are the team we're on. Jamie West is here for Bob Parsoletti this week. Bob never would have put that helmet on, by the way. Jamie, let's delve right into football. We had one intra-county matchup on Friday, and South Hagerstown jumped out to a 19-0 first-half lead against Williamsport and then did enough to turn the Cats back from there, with South going on to win 27-13.
Oh, Williamsport's had their issues with turnovers this season, and given the fact that the South rushing team has really begun to, or the South team has begun to have a more solid rushing attack with Jay Sanan. He had that 34-yard carry to get them into field or position, up a score, 2013 I believe it was. That's what helps the South team go. They have the 2-quarterback system, but it seems like Timmy Townsend's really been the key to that as well.
Yeah, Townsend, along with Sanan, rushing for over 100 yards each in that game on Friday. And you mentioned the turnovers, 19 of them committed by Williamsport this season, and they've directly been contributed or attributed to wins or losses. Minus 11 turnover differential in the 4 losses this year, plus 9 in the 4 wins for Williamsport, who will go after win number 5 coming up this week against Smithsburg on Friday. And speaking of wins, South Hagerstown head coach Toby Peer, 50 of them now in less than 7 full seasons as head coach of the Rebels, which is a county record for the fastest of 50. Now 50 wins in 70 games for Coach Peer. South will be at Jefferson, a 4-4 team, coming up on Friday. North Hagerstown shut out Frederick 36-0. That's right, second win of the year for North Hagerstown. More on 2 lengthy streaks that final score ended in just a moment. But on the Hub senior night, it was 2 seniors, and that's apropos, who really stepped up. Running back Ben Stottlemyre rushing for 135 yards and 3 touchdowns, while receiver and defensive back Rayvon Dillard caught a touchdown pass, intercepted a Frederick pass, and returned a punt for a score. In fact, the pair combined to put 3 touchdowns on the board in a 5-minute, 10-second span of the second quarter that turned a 7-0 lead into a 29-0 cushion for the Hubs. And as for vanquishing those aforementioned streaks,
yeah, the shutout streak, it's been almost 5 years since they've won a shutout game. It's been, 3 years since they've won an actual game at home?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, those are records that
growing pains.
Yeah, I never thought that I would see anything like that with the Hubs a number of years ago. But hey, good for them. They've been improving all year long. 2 wins now on the season for North Hagerstown, as mentioned, 2-6. Tough task on Friday though against 7-1 Liberty.
Absolutely, but you got to think too. Greg Staines is really turning this team around. A couple years ago, didn't win a game. Last year, won 1. 2 wins. It's a slow start. It's a slow process, but I think he's the right guy there at North. He's really getting that team to play at its best level.
He's truly a North guy, and baby steps right now, but congratulations to the Hubs on that second win. Second win for Hancock this season, too. We don't have any video to show you, but I can tell you, as far as the highlights, Ian Mann, 3 touchdown runs, and Josh Golden, a pair of touchdown passes in a 41-0 win over Macedonia.
They're an offensive juggernaut all of a sudden. 100 points in their last 2 games after scoring just 48 in their first 6. Who knows? I mean, with their next opponent, they'd like to see the process going on continually with Rupenthal. I mean, I've spoken before on here. He's a great coach. I think Hancock's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, 7-game losing skid, now a 2-game winning streak. Did we hear 3? Friends High School, who has only 1 win, is next on the schedule this week. Now, without injured star running back Joe McCoy last Friday night, Clear Spring offered no resistance against Southern Garrett. As a matter of fact, the Blazers fell behind 44-0 at the half, and the Rams absolutely crushed Clear Spring 58-0.
Yeah, it's the 5th worst loss in program history. They haven't had a loss that bad in 94 games. And, Joe McCoy not being there, that's a big deal. He had Joey Fisher blocking for him last season. That obviously helped. But when he's been healthy, he ran for 222 yards against Berkeley Springs. He's still got the ability. They just need him to be healthy. And aside from that, though, if he's not on the field, Clear Spring's just having a rough go of it.
Yeah, it's a battle of attrition right now, and Coach Bathgate knows that, but he's calling on all the healthy bodies to be on deck for the final 2 games of the season, but no easy task this week against undefeated East Hardy. St. James has had a terrific season. They've done a lot of it by scoring a ton of points, and they took to the road to face once-beaten Flint Hill last Saturday, an opponent that the Saints had not bested in 10 consecutive meetings. And following a scoreless first quarter, St. James finally got the county's highest scoring offense untracked in the second period. And as a matter of fact, they opened up a 14-0 lead. They would give up a score that made it 14-7, but then Cole Minas with a touchdown run with just 23 seconds left in the first half. They go in up 21-7, but that's where things turned around, as it looked like in the second half of that game, Flint Hill sort of figured St. James out a little bit at halftime.
Yeah, Minas had 3 touchdowns in the second quarter alone. Second half, though, 2 interceptions. I do think St. James is playing really well considering the loss of Tyler Raymond. When he first went down, there was a lot of talk around the office as far as what are they going to do? And Minas has really stepped in and been a viable option there. But really, aside from that, Flint Hill did a great job of shutting them down. Took them to overtime, though. That's not something you've seen a lot out of the Saints in that team.
No, St. James never did give up in that game. They scored very late. They got a 2-point conversion to send it to overtime. And then in the overtime, an interception by Flint Hill gave them the football, their opportunity to put points on the board. And as a matter of fact, they came through to win it by a score of 41-35 in the extra session. So St. James loses for the 3rd time this year, but not for lack of effort. And Smithsburg's game absolutely canceled.
Apparently
couldn't figure out what day
happened.
it was on. So no game for the Leopards. They still have a 2-game winning streak at Williamsport coming up this Friday. Jamie, thanks so much. Good to see you. I didn't make you do anything Bieber related. Just put on the Cubs helmet. That was it.
Simple task.
I will be back right after this. Nobody's putting anything on the rest of the show, except we've got some great football to talk about with Boonesboro Warriors, who came up with a huge win last week. 3 of them here when we return.
Champions are not merely born, they're forged in the crucible that is flag football. With equal parts turf, pigskin, and heart. That's why Buffalo Wild Wings donates to boys and girls clubs across the country to not only help thousands of kids learn about teamwork on and off the field, but to help them fulfill their destiny. To shred defensive lines, terrorize the secondary, and emerge bonded as true champions.
At Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period. We're the largest Ford store in the tri-state area. #1 for only one reason. We charge less, period. Hagerstown Ford delivers. We'll bring your new ride to you and do the whole deal sitting at your kitchen table. Easy peasy. Get more for your trade, easy on-the-spot financing, and the lowest prices on the East Coast guaranteed. And if we can't beat their deal, we'll buy that car for you. Hagerstown Ford, we charge less, period.
Welcome back to the show. We continue now with more football, and we get to a game for the ages now, as it turned out. 3 Boonesboro players who persevered and got the win against South Carroll on Friday. Join me now. I've got Cam McClellan, Zach Grams, and Jared Tribbett. Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for being here. Congratulations on the win on Friday. And Cam, if you can, kind of set the scene for us there in Sykesville that night. Talk a little bit about the conditions and how they factored into everything from ball security to footing to tackling.
Yeah, the field was definitely really slippery. They don't have a turf field or anything like that. So it was definitely muddy. I mean, pre-game, we were doing our little script, and some kids were already slipping, so we just kind of knew that we had to buckle down for it. And we knew we were playing. Our coaches told us, get it out of your system now because we got a game to play. There was some light rain in the first half. It was pretty cold and windy. But I mean, hey, it's football, so we get to play in anything. I love it.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. Zach, you really created the first big break in that game on punt coverage. Dislodging the football, recovering the fumble that actually would set you guys up to go down and score, and you would score that first touchdown. How did the game get started for you guys? I mean, it seemed like it was a very good start. It was a little bit of a slow start, a feeling out process, but once that happened, it really got you guys rolling.
Yeah, started out kind of slow in the first two drives, our first offensive drive, and then we got the fumble, and then after we got the fumble, we were bang, bang. Yeah, with that drive, just 5 yards at a clip all the way till the end zone.
And Jared, as far as you were concerned on defense in the early going, you knew you had a big task ahead of you in containing a guy on the other side who is a pretty darn good running back in Jamar Williams. But early on, defense really seemed to bottle him up. What was your mindset going into the game in terms of the game plan and what you needed to do in order to beat them on the defensive side?
I mean, the biggest thing on the defensive side was keeping him inside. I mean, he's not a big guy. But he's really fast and stuff. So once he hits the outside, I mean, there's not much to catch him. I mean, nobody really could do that, even on our team, like cornerbacks, safeties, or anything. But if we kept him inside, Cam and I, and the middle linebackers, could typically be able to contain him. I mean, we got a little bit of weight on him, so if he comes inside, it's not going to be as easy as running.
And speaking of easy, you guys made it look easy early on, getting out to the 12-0 lead. Just how good were you feeling when you were up by 2 touchdowns?
Oh, I can speak for myself. I was feeling really good. I mean, later on it was getting a little sketchy, but at the beginning we came out really strong.
Yeah, and Zach, they wind up scoring a touchdown to make it a 12-6 game, but then you guys, for all the world, looked like either you were going to put points on the board at the end of the first half, or at worse, it was going to be a 12-6 game at halftime. You'd still have the lead, and then all of a sudden, 4 plays result in nothing. They get the ball back, have 26.1 seconds to go 92 yards, which is exactly what they ultimately do. Yeah. So the game's tied at halftime. What's the discussion like at the half?
I mean, we got to come out and jump back on them like we did in the first quarter. That's what we were told, and we just had to do our jobs, and we were going to be all right. But clearly we didn't do our jobs when we first came back out.
Yeah, Cam, they wind up scoring the next 12 points in the game, the next 13 points, and go up by a score of 25-12. All the momentum's on their side. They come up with an interception, and all of a sudden, it just appears that this game is a lost cause for Boonesboro because it's such an uphill battle. Everything that's happened since you had the 12-0 lead has seemingly gone in their favor. But then come up with a big play and stop them and force them into a punt. And that turned out to be a very fateful punt. All kinds of blocks on that, but if you could have drawn up the right blocking scheme for a punt return, that was it. Steven Smothers does the rest. And when you guys score that touchdown, how did your spirits change from feeling like, man, this might not be our night to this isn't over yet?
I mean, I was ecstatic. I mean, I knew we had it in us, but I didn't anticipate it to come like that. I didn't know we were going to get a punt return touchdown, but I was just trying to get through to our players. Like we have this chance. Like we're not out yet, and we're just trying to play every down you can get as hard as you can, and things like that happen, and then they do their jobs, and we bust some play like that, and then it's like we got through to the kids and our teammates, and now everyone's getting really psyched on the sideline too, and everyone's just, and now it's our game to win. It's up to us. At this point, they're just trying to survive, and I was telling them like they don't want it like you do.
And the defense took over. I mean, it was 5 straight defensive stands there, starting with the one that forced that particular punt. And then the offense does something it hadn't done all night. Started completing some passes and 3 in a row. And, of course, the big one going to Keegan Bowles from 13 yards out for the touchdown. Terrific catch on that play. And then explain to me exactly what happened after that touchdown. The game's tied at 25.
Right.
Going for 2 versus 1 and the formation on that play, too.
Yeah, we our coaches like to make some calls sometimes, but basically that formation gives us a lot of options. So we can, our quarterback that's going to hold the ball, he can look at it and call it how he wants it. And they lined up to it poorly, which is exactly what we're looking for. So he called that option, and I mean, all we did was pass and catch, and we blocked it up. So.
And then you get the turnover, the interception that ices the game on the next drive by South Carroll, and all of a sudden you walk away with a victory. By the way, the Boonesboro Warriors are our Buffalo Wild Wings Players of the Week this week. Normally I give it to one player, but I can't single out a player. That's a terrific team effort. Quite the comeback, guys, and congratulations on that. By the way, the 199th victory of Coach Andrews' career. Yep. So 200 potentially coming up this Friday. No pressure there against Winters Mill. And there is no pressure for this team after winning a game like that. 8-1 now on the season. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the win, and look forward to seeing you in the playoffs, too.
Thank you
so much.
I'll be back right after this. Speaking of playoffs, soccer playoffs is our next subject on the show. And girls head coach Williamsport's John Bodner is here when you come back.
Hamilton Nissan made buying my new Nissan Rogue an easy decision. Every car they sell automatically comes with their Hamilton for Life program. With it, I get free oil changes, free tire rotations, free car washes, and Hamilton's limited lifetime engine guarantee. And this mom didn't pay a dime for that peace of mind. It completely took the worrying out of car buying, and it's keeping my family on schedule, and we have a lot of places to go.
The Hamilton for Life program, getting you where you need to go.
Welcome back to the show, and man, what a great time of year it is. The postseason is upon us. The soccer draws came out on Monday, and that's why I'm now joined by Williamsport girls head coach John Bodner to talk all about how his girls stack up. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on being the #1 seed in 1A West Section 2, something that your team earned on the final day, as it turned out. 10-game winning streak in place right now. What's the feeling heading into the playoffs?
Well, we knew coming into the season that we had a chance to have a special season, and but those things, just because you wish on them doesn't mean it's going to happen. And we became a very goal-oriented team, and really looking to build up and elevate our teammates, and understanding why we're here and coming to practice and working hard. And we're certainly moving in the right direction. We've been working on a lot of things in practice, and we've been getting the results in the games. So we're definitely liking the position we're in right now, but it's been a fight all the way, and lots of good teams right in our section. So. New season starts on the 1st. Yeah, you earn a first-round bye, as does everybody in that particular section. So the first game is Tuesday in the semifinals against a Clear Spring team that you've beaten twice during the season. Does that help or hurt in terms of motivation? Yeah, it's tough. Looking at the postseason throughout the season following it, you realize you're going to play these teams usually multiple times. Yeah, this is going to be our 3rd time playing Clear Spring. We've already played Smithsburg twice, Boonesboro once. So. You're going to have to bring your best game, not just once, twice, maybe 3 times. So, it has its advantages and disadvantages, but I think, we're prepared and we're ready to go, and we're excited to play. Yeah, you've won all 8 matches that you played against county competition this year, and over in the other semifinal, it'll be Boonesboro hosting Smithsburg, and right. Smithsburg's had the upper hand against Boonesboro this season, winning both matches that those two teams have played in. Smithsburg seems to be on the upswing right now, and that's a good thing for a very young Leopards team. Seems like they've just gotten better as the season's gone along. Yeah, they started off, they had a couple struggles early in the season, lost to Boonesboro in the opening round. Beat Boonesboro in the opening round of the county tournament, then struggled thereafter for a couple games, but they're getting it going in the right direction. Just to give you a snapshot of how close and competitive these games are, I was looking, we've played Boonesboro and Smithsburg 9 times in the last 2 years, and every single one of those games for us has been decided by a goal. 2 of them went to penalty kicks, 2 of them went to overtime, so you're talking not a lot of margin for error and mistakes in these games, so I expect that between Boonesboro and Smithsburg, and then certainly even with us in Clear Spring in the next round thereafter.
and the Warriors are the defending section champions. Got to the region final a year ago.
Right.
One advantage that I would see for your team in particular is that you've got 11 seniors. So this is the final go-around. What's your finger on the pulse of that right now as far as those seniors and just how excited they are to get this postseason started?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's been a special season, and it's kind of really gone the script. It's couldn't have gone any better. 11 seniors. We have a lot of leadership. I got 3 terrific captains. I got a senior in goal who she was my keeper on JV, Madison Gaines. She's been my keeper. I just was looking the other day, 44 straight games now. But then you sprinkle in, we have a handful of really good underclassmen who are top contributors. If you look at our team right now, Taylor Neff leads the team in scoring. Mackenzie Dudley's right there leading the team in assists and second in goals. And Elena Palomar, freshman, is third. So, we have a really nice blend right now of senior leadership, experienced players. Hannah Moser in the back leading the way, and Aaron and Lexi doing their stuff in the midfield. So it's a really nice combination. It's all coming together. But we hope to keep it going for quite a while.
That definitely helps a coach, doesn't it?
It does, and again, I met with my captains preseason. We had a little leadership conference together and outlined the season, and they were on board right away, know exactly what I'm looking for. It's a blessing to have 3 seniors like that, and then you have the other seniors leading the way. So it's been very smooth. I think I mentioned that and was quoted in the paper is that they make my job pretty easy.
Yeah, it's a mini county tournament over there in Section 2 and 1A West. Over in Section 1, the number 1 seed over on that side is Mountain Ridge, who won the region championship a year ago. So plenty of work to be done there within Class 1A for sure. Over in 3A West, Section 2, both Hagerstown schools are there, and North Hagerstown will start at home. The Hubs are 7-6-2 overall, hosting the 5th seed Tuscarora coming up on Thursday in a section quarterfinal, a rematch of a 1-0 North regular season victory from the previous Thursday. The winner there will get top-seeded Urbana next Tuesday, and winless South Hagerstown is the 7th seed and travels to 2nd-seeded Linganore on Thursday in another section quarter. Not going to be easy at all for either of those teams. That is a stacked region there in 3A.
That is a tough challenge. Frederick County has a lot of top schools, top programs, and we saw that. I mean, if you look at our 2 losses, we lost at Walkersville in double overtime and at TJ. So, schools like Linganore and Urbana are some of the best teams in the state. So, that they have a tough road ahead.
Well, Coach, it's been a terrific season so far, and we hope to see you keep it going here long into the playoffs. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
All right, us too. Go Cats.
And go Blazers, for that matter. As far as the boys are concerned, head coach Lynn Mills of the Clear Spring Boys here for the breakdown on the boys' playoff brackets right after this.
Tony's Pizza in Williamsport has had the same simple philosophy since 1985. Start with simple products. Sauce from the best Italian tomatoes. The best cheese and dough made fresh every day. Then mix those with a great atmosphere, and you'll have the best dining experience you can find. Tony's is known for their pasta dishes, subs, pizzas, and specialty items like their Nutella Dots and the famous Crazy Tony. Simply put, they want to give the best food they can give to their customers. So stop in today to Tony's Pizza in Williamsport.
Welcome back to the show. More soccer now. Time for the boys' playoff draw. And joining me for that is Clear Spring head coach Lynn Mills. Welcome to the show, Coach. Congratulations on what's been a terrific season so far, a county tournament championship, and just a great run throughout the course of the year. An elongated break coming into the playoffs. So does that help or hurt your team?
That actually, a lot of times would hurt us, but I think this year definitely going to help us. We were pretty banged up there towards the end of the season. I lost a couple starters, and we had 3 or 4 boys out. We only have like 16 on the roster to start with, so we were really thin. So I think the break will definitely help us.
And a number 1 seed in Section 2, which means the home field advantage, record of 12-2-1 coming off a loss and a tie to 2 tough teams in Williamsport and Mountain Ridge, and you didn't have your complete starting lineup for either of those matches. But now you have them intact, and you host a 1-13 Smithsburg team that's lost its last 11. So is that a bit of a concern at all? Because Smithsburg has absolutely nothing to lose coming into this one.
Right, and it is. I mean, every playoff game obviously is a brand new game. Anybody can win. Any team can win on any given day. A lot of times teams will play down to the other team's level. We need to concentrate on a day at a time and come out strong and stay with that.
How key is it to getting off to a fast start, do you think, in that particular, just jumping on top?
Well, with this team all year long, we have had slow starts almost every game. We've come from behind several times. One thing about this group of boys, they never quit. So, you know, it is important, but at the same time, actually when we played Smithsburg regular season, we were down 1-0 at almost the half, and then we come back and won 3-1.
Well, the winner of that particular match then gets either the 2nd seed Boonesboro or the 3rd seed in Brunswick. Brunswick beat Boonesboro earlier in the season. Boonesboro playing a lot better right now, coming into the playoffs, which is pretty much where you want to be, hitting your stride at this point in the season. But both of those teams this year, that's one of those games that seems like it could go either way, really, because Brunswick really has that playoff pedigree, too.
Yeah, definitely. Brunswick is always very competitive. I know they've had a rough season. We played them earlier in the season, actually beat them 3-0, which was kind of a surprise to me. And they've had an up and down year. And like you said, that game could go either way. It'll definitely be a good match, whichever way it comes out.
And again, looking at the other side of that bracket, then Fort Hill, the #1 seed over there, but should Clear Spring win out, Fort Hill wins out, the region championship would be at Clear Spring, which certainly bodes well for the Blazers. Allegheny is the defending region champion there. 2A West, Section 1, the #2 seed is Williamsport, comes in with a mark of 12-2-1. Hard to believe that would not get a team a #1 seed, but it doesn't because Middletown has only 1 loss. Will host 3rd-seeded Mountain Ridge after an opening round bye in a section semi on Tuesday. The Cats have won 8 of their last 9 overall and 2 straight against Mountain Ridge, with those victories coming a week ago Saturday and in last year's section semifinal in penalty kicks in Frostburg. And if Williamsport had its way, they'd like your team to play Mountain Ridge again like they did during the regular season, force them into a long double overtime game and kind of soften them up a little bit. Of course, that won't be the case, but you've seen Williamsport 3 times this year. How formidable of an opponent are the Wildcats?
They're very solid. You know, they have a lot of different weapons. They don't just have one guy coming at you. They can use different things, and then of course they got a good keeper. You know, that boy's only a sophomore, and he's for real. Downs is always ready to go and got his boys ready to go. So I wish him the best of luck there. Obviously, they have to get through Mountain Ridge first, but with Middletown, because Middletown is extremely tough this year, so should be, you know, good matches.
Yeah, Middletown will be doing something they hadn't done in 22 games, trying to figure out what to do after a loss because they finally lost one, that coming to Urbana. Over in 3A West, Section 2 in the quarterfinals there, the 5th seed is North Hagerstown, who enters off one of its 3 wins this season and will play at the 4 seed, 4-time winner Linganore, who has one of its wins over North Hagerstown this season. North has scored the 2nd fewest goals by a county public school team this season. And the 6th seed is South Hagerstown, who's been decent scoring but has struggled mightily with its defending, drawing 3rd-seeded Frederick on Thursday. A win means a semifinal matchup there with 2nd-seeded TJ. North would get the #1 seed in Tuscarora. Urbana is the top seed in Section 1, where the defending state champions Oakdale also reside. So as far as Clear Spring is concerned, obviously looking forward to that first playoff match. You say taking it one game at a time, but what are your points of emphasis going into the postseason for the guys?
You know, we do need to work on, you know, not getting behind. We start out slow for some reason. This is probably one of the best teams I've seen come through up there, but they do start slow. But like I said, they never quit. And, you know, of course, we have a devastating offensive machine up top. And then our defense has held us in a lot of games. So, you know, if we can get through the first round and then, you know, the second round, I've seen a lot of Fort Hill. They do look really good. We played in preseason, which, you know, you can't really go by that. But that would be an extremely good game there. A lot of the teams are just pretty even. Other than, you know, Smithsburg is really down this year, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, survive and advance at this point. Coach, thanks so much for being here. Best of luck.
Okay.
I'll be back next week with a full show. We will have soccer playoff results, football, cross country, and volleyball all coming your way next time. That's when I see you on the inside.
Hey.